The warning lights flashed red across the bridge of the luminous dawn. Meltira floated in her specialized suit, her jellyfish-like body pulsing with fear. The communication console showed the same terrible message for the third time that day. Another colony had gone silent. "First officer, we have confirmation," her assistant whispered, his voice trembling through the translator. "The Kragath swarm has consumed the 7th colony. 3 million souls, all gone." Meltira's appendages shook. The Velthari had never known war. They had evolved on a peaceful moon with low gravity and gentle winds. Their civilization had grown through science and cooperation, never violence. They had no weapons, no warriors, no concept of true combat. Their defense drones were meant to redirect asteroids, not fight enemies. The Kragath were different. They were a nightmare made real, silicon-based creatures that moved like a single mind, consuming everything in their path. Planets, ships, stations, all became food for the endless swarm. They reproduced by converting matter into more of themselves, and they were coming. "How long do we have?" Meltira asked, though she already knew the answer would break her heart. 6 months, maybe less. The swarm moves faster with each world they consume. Meltira made the decision quickly. She opened a channel to the Galactic Council. Within hours, she was floating in a virtual meeting room, surrounded by representatives from 23 species. The chamber looked majestic, with floating platforms and holographic displays. But Meltira saw the truth behind the beauty. These people were afraid. The Thoraxian ambassador spoke first. His insect-like body clicked and clacked as he moved. "We have reviewed your request for military aid. The Council sympathizes with your situation." "Sympathizes?" Meltira could not control her anger. "Our people are dying. We need ships, weapons, soldiers." The Keldari representative, a floating orb of pure energy, pulsed slowly. "You must understand. The Kragath are unlike any enemy we have faced. Our fleets tried to stop them at the border systems. We lost 300 ships. Energy weapons barely slow them down. They adapt too quickly." "So you will do nothing?" Meltira felt her hope dying. "We will provide evacuation support," another ambassador offered. "We can help relocate your people to refugee stations." "Refugee stations," Meltira's voice broke. "You want us to abandon our home, our world? Everything we built over 10,000 years?" The council chamber fell silent. No one met her gaze. They were offering thoughts and prayers, but no real help. Meltira understood now. They were cowards. Soft civilizations that had forgotten how to fight, if they ever knew at all. As the meeting was ending, old Counselor Veshinama spoke up. He was one of the oldest beings in the galaxy, having served the council for over 3 centuries. His voice was quiet, almost hesitant. "There is one option, one we have not discussed." Every representative turned to look at him. Veshnama's body language showed discomfort. "We could contact Earth." The chamber exploded with noise. Voices shouted over each other, some in fear, others in anger. The Thoraxian ambassador raised his claws high. "You cannot be serious. Earth is quarantined for good reason. Those creatures are dangerous." "They are monsters," the Keldari agreed. "We all remember the Titan incident. They destroyed a pirate fleet in 40 minutes. 40 minutes! And the things they did—" Veshnama held up a hand for silence. "Yes, they are dangerous. They come from a death world, a planet that tried to kill them every day of their evolution. They have gravity 3 times stronger than most of our worlds. They eat other living creatures. They carry diseases that could wipe out unprepared species. They build weapons designed to cause maximum destruction." He paused. "But they can fight. They know how to kill. And right now, that is exactly what we need." Meltira felt a chill run through her body. She had heard stories about Earth. Every spacefaring species had. Humans were the monsters that haunted the dark spaces between stars. They had been contacted 50 years ago, and the galaxy had quickly decided to leave them alone. They were too aggressive, too violent, too dangerous to integrate into civilized society. But Veshnama was right. What good was civilization if you were dead? "I will send the message," Meltira said quietly. The council argued for another hour, but in the end, they had no better option. They authorized the contact, though most of them did so reluctantly. Meltira returned to her ship and sat at the communication station for a long time before composing the message. Her hands shook as she typed. How did you ask monsters for help? What words could possibly convince them? In the end, she kept it simple. She told the truth. To the humans of Earth. This is First Officer Meltira of the Velthari science vessel, Luminous Dawn. Our people are dying. A force called the Kragath Swarm is consuming our worlds. We have no warriors, no weapons that can stop them. The Galactic Council cannot help us. In 6 months, our home world will fall. Billions will die. We know your people are feared across the galaxy. We know you were quarantined because others think you are dangerous. But we do not care about danger anymore. We care about survival. Please, if you have any mercy, if you value life at all, help us. We are begging you. She sent the message toward the Sol system and waited. Her crew told her she was foolish. The humans had no reason to help. They had been rejected by the galaxy, isolated, treated like criminals for simply being what they were. Why would they care about the Velthari? 2 days passed. Meltira barely slept. She kept imagining what would happen if the humans said no. She kept seeing her homeworld covered in the writhing mass of the Kragath, all her people consumed and converted. Then the reply came. It was short, simple, in basic trade language that any species could understand. Coordinates received. Fleet en route. Hold position. Admiral Taeyang, Earth Defense Fleet. Meltira read it 3 times before she understood. They were coming. The Deathworlders were coming. She did not know whether to feel relieved or terrified. Perhaps both. She sent acknowledgement and began to wait. In the distance, somewhere beyond the light years of empty space, the monsters were waking up, and they were coming to help. The message reached Earth's Unified Defense Command in Seoul at 0600 hours. Admiral Taeyang was drinking his morning coffee when the alert came through. He was a tall man with gray hair and scars on his hands from the colony wars 20 years ago. He had seen combat, real combat, and it had marked him. He read the message twice, then called his senior staff. Within an hour, 6 people sat around the conference table. Commander Haewon arrived first. She was the head of naval intelligence, sharp-eyed and quick-minded. She had been tracking the Kragath situation for months, even though Earth was supposed to stay out of galactic affairs. Tell me about the Kragath, Taeyang said. Haewon pulled up a holographic display. Silicon-based life form. They operate as a hive mind across millions of individual units. They consume matter and convert it into more drones. Traditional energy weapons are mostly useless. They adapt too fast. The Galactic Council tried to fight them 3 months ago and lost badly. Captain Dongwu leaned forward. He was young for a battleship commander, only 35, but he had proven himself during the asteroid mining conflicts. Why are energy weapons useless? The Kragath evolved to absorb and redirect energy, Haewon explained. Plasma, lasers, particle beams, they just make the swarm stronger. The Council species have been using the same weapons for thousands of years. They never needed anything else because they only fought each other. Taeyang smiled grimly. But we use different weapons. Exactly. Haewon pulled up another display showing Earth's arsenal. Kinetic impactors, chemical explosives, nuclear warheads, all the primitive weapons the Council thinks are barbaric. The Kragath have never encountered these before. Kyung-sik, the chief weapons officer, spoke up. He was a former asteroid miner who knew everything about kinetic energy and mass drivers. A chunk of metal moving fast enough does not care about adaptation. Physics is physics. If we hit them hard enough, they break. The question is whether we should get involved, said Vice Admiral Bo Young. She was Taeyang's second in command, and the fleet's best strategic mind. Earth has been isolated for 50 years. The galaxy made it clear they do not want us. Why should we help them now? Taeyang looked at each person around the table. Because they asked. Because people are dying. Because it is the right thing to do. Captain Dongwu nodded. The strong should protect the weak. Is that not what we always said? That is why we built this fleet, Not to conquer, but to defend. I agree, said Miran, the fleet's top fighter pilot. She had the call sign Meteor and a reputation for crazy flying. Besides, sitting around doing nothing is boring. Let's go fight some aliens. The last person at the table was Yoon Suk, the chief engineer. She had designed most of the fleet's weapon systems. She was quiet and practical, always thinking 3 steps ahead. If we do this, we need to do it right. We should send enough force to guarantee victory. Anything less would be a waste. Tae Yang made his decision. We mobilized the Third Fleet. 12 battleships, 30 destroyers, 6 carriers. And we bring the Hammer of Sol. Everyone looked surprised. The Hammer of Sol was an experimental ship built around a single massive weapon, a kinetic impactor that could fire a 200-ton tungsten rod at 30% of light speed. It had never been used in combat. Are you sure? Bo Young asked. That weapon could destroy a planet. I am sure. We are going to face an enemy that consumes worlds. We need to hit them so hard they never come back. The mobilization began immediately. Across Earth, ships powered up their reactors. Weapons were loaded. Crews reported for duty. The fleet had been training for years, preparing for threats that might never come. Now the moment had arrived. Commander Hyun-woo assembled his Marines. He was a veteran of special forces, hard and tough like all Earth soldiers. 5,000 Marines would go with the fleet, ready to board enemy ships if needed. They trained in high-gravity environments, carried chemical propellant weapons, and could survive in conditions that would kill most aliens. Listen up, Hyun-woo told his troops. We are going to fight something called the Kragath Swarm. They are silicon-based, they move as a hive mind, and they have killed millions. The aliens we are saving have never seen war. They think we are monsters. Maybe they are right. But we are going to be their monsters. We are going to kill everything that threatens them. Understood? The Marines shouted their agreement. They loaded onto transport ships, ready for whatever came next. Miran gathered her fighter pilots in the carrier bay. 300 of the best pilots Earth had ever produced. They flew ships that could pull 15G turns, moves that would turn most aliens into liquid. Human pilots could survive it because they came from a high-gravity world. Their bodies were denser, stronger, tougher. We are going to war, Miran told them, and we are going to show the galaxy what real fighter combat looks like. Stay sharp, stay fast, and remember, we are the best because we trained in hell. On the flagship Seoul's Fury, Yoon-suk checked every system personally. The ship's nuclear plasma hybrid reactors put out more power than most alien space stations. The armor was layered metal alloys designed to stop kinetic impacts. The weapons included mass drivers, missile pods, and railguns. Everything was designed for maximum destruction. We good? Tae Yang asked her. We are good. This fleet could probably take on half the Galactic Council and win. Let us hope it does not come to that. 72 hours after receiving the distress call, the Earth fleet was ready. 12 massive battleships hung in orbit, surrounded by smaller destroyers and carriers. The Hammer of Sol took position at the center, its single giant weapon pointing forward like an accusing finger. Admiral Tae Yang stood on his bridge and looked at his crew. They were ready, trained, confident. They knew what they were doing. All ships, this is the Admiral. Today we break 50 years of isolation. We are going to help people who cannot help themselves. We are going to show the galaxy that Earth stands for something, that we are not monsters, we are protectors. We might be scary, we might be dangerous, but we use that danger for good. Let us go save some lives. The fleet engaged their faster-than-light drives. The energy signatures were enormous, aggressive, nothing like the gentle jumps used by Council species. Earth's jump technology was like everything else humans built, powerful, loud, and effective. One by one, the ships vanished into hyperspace, racing toward the Velthari homeworld. The Deathworlders were coming. The sensors on the luminous dawn went crazy before Meltira even saw the human fleet. The energy readings were massive, far beyond anything she had ever witnessed. Each ship produced more power than a Velthari city. The computer kept warning her that the readings must be wrong, But they were not wrong. Then the ships appeared. They dropped out of faster-than-light travel in perfect formation, and Meltira felt her body freeze in terror. The vessels were huge, covered in thick armor plating, bristling with weapons that looked rough and brutal. There were no smooth curves or elegant designs. These ships were built like hammers, meant to hit and hit hard. "First officer," her assistant whispered. "The lead ship is hailing us." Meltira forced herself to answer. A hologram appeared on her bridge, and she saw a human for the first time in person. Admiral Tai Yang stood tall, even in the hologram. He was so dense, so solid compared to her floating, delicate form. His face was weathered, marked by age and experience. His eyes were sharp and intelligent. When he moved, it was with the grace of a predator, controlled and purposeful. "First Officer Meltira," he said, his voice deep and commanding. "I am Admiral Tai Yang of the Earth Defense Fleet. We received your distress call. We are here to help. Show us what we are fighting." Meltira sent him all the data they had on the Kragath. Battle records, sensor readings, analysis from the Galactic Council's failed attempts to stop the swarm. Tai Yang reviewed it silently, his expression never changing. "Vice Admiral Bo Young," he said to someone off-screen. "Your assessment?" A woman appeared in the hologram. She was shorter than Tai Yang, but moved with the same confident purpose. Her eyes studied the data rapidly. "Interesting," Bo Young said. "They have adapted to counter every energy weapon in the Council's arsenal. Plasma, lasers, particle beams. The Kragath can absorb or deflect them all. But look at this." She highlighted a section of the data. "They have no defense against physical impacts, no adaptation for kinetic force. They have never needed it because the Council species only use energy weapons." Commander Hei Wan appeared next. "The Kragath operate from 3 hive ships. Each one is 50 kilometers long. Destroy those, and the swarm loses coordination. The drones become easy targets." Meltira listened to them discuss battle plans like they were talking about the weather. They showed no fear, no hesitation. They spoke about destroying enemies the way she might discuss a science experiment. "We can kill them," Tai Yang said simply. "It will not be easy, but we can do it." "You are certain?" Meltira had to ask. "The Council's finest fleets failed." Tai Yang's expression hardened. "The Council has been at peace for too long. They forgot what war really means. We never forgot. Earth is a death world, officer. Every day growing up, something tried to kill us. Predators, diseases, weather, our own planet's gravity. We survived by learning to kill back. The Kragath are just another predator." Later that day, Meltira was invited to dinner on the Soul's Fury. She accepted, though the idea terrified her. She had to wear a special support suit because the ship's gravity was 3 times what she was used to. Even with the suit, she felt crushed, barely able to move. The human dining area was strange. Tables and chairs bolted to the floor. Crew members sitting and eating solid food. Meltira watched in horror as they consumed cooked flesh from Earth animals. They were eating other creatures. Dead things on plates. Captain Dongwu noticed her distress. He was younger than the Admiral, with kind eyes despite his obvious strength. "I am sorry," he said. "I forget this must be disturbing for you. We are omnivores. We eat both plants and meat." "You kill to eat?" Meltira's voice shook. "Yes. On Earth, that is how life works. Everything eats something else. The strong eat the weak. It is a harsh world." He paused. "But we are more than just predators. We also protect. We take care of those who cannot take care of themselves. That is why we are here." Yoon-suk, the chief engineer, spoke up. She had been quiet during most of the meal. "We scare you, all of us. I understand. We are big, we are strong, we eat meat, we talk about killing easily. But understand this. We are scary to your enemies, not to you. Earth taught us to fight, but it also taught us when to fight. We fight to protect, not to conquer." "Why?" Meltira asked. "Why help us? Your people were isolated by the galaxy. We rejected you, called you monsters. Why would you risk your lives for strangers?" Tai Yang answered. Because it is the right thing to do. Because when someone asks for help, you help them. On Earth, we have many different people, many different beliefs. But most of us agree on one thing. The strong have a duty to protect the weak. That is what makes strength worthwhile. The next day, a Kragath scout cluster attacked. About 5,000 drones, moving in perfect coordination. The Galactic Council observers who had come to watch expected a careful, calculated response. They expected the humans to analyze, plan, and prepare. Instead, Miran and her fighter wing launched immediately. "Meteor Squadron, on me!" she shouted over the communication channel. "Let us teach these bugs about Earth-style combat." The fighters accelerated at forces that would kill most species. 15 Gs of acceleration. Miran and her pilots did not even slow down. They screamed toward the Kragath cluster at incredible speeds. The Kragath tried to adapt, preparing their energy absorption systems. Then the humans opened fire. Armor-piercing rounds made of depleted uranium punched through silicon shells. High-explosive missiles detonated inside drone clusters, sending shrapnel everywhere. Incendiary bombs ignited organic components, creating fires in the vacuum of space. The Kragath had no defense. They had never encountered kinetic weapons before. Silicon shattered. Organic matter burned. The cluster tried to scatter, but the human pilots were too fast, too aggressive. They hunted down every drone, destroying them one by one. The battle lasted 4 minutes. When it was over, Meltira stared at the debris field in shock. 4 minutes. The Council had fought the Kragath for hours and lost badly. The humans had won in 4 minutes. Miran's voice came over the communication channel, casual and unconcerned. "Meteor Squadron returning to base. All targets destroyed. 0 losses. That was a good warm-up." A warm-up. She called it a warm-up. The Galactic Council observers watched in stunned silence. One of them, a Thoraxian ambassador, finally spoke. "They fight like their entire world is trying to kill them," Meltira replied softly. "That is because it does. That is what makes them Deathworlders." She understood now. The humans were not monsters. They were survivors. And they had learned to survive by being more dangerous than anything that hunted them. The Kragath were about to learn what that meant. The Kragath main force arrived at Velthar Prime exactly when predicted. 3 massive hive ships, each 50 kilometers long, emerged from faster-than-light travel. Behind them came the swarm, 400,000 drones moving as a single entity. The sky above the Velthari moon turned dark with their numbers. The defense platforms opened fire immediately. Energy beams lanced out, striking the swarm. The Kragath absorbed the energy and kept coming. They descended toward the moon like a living blanket, ready to consume everything. Then the human fleet arrived. They appeared right between the Kragath and the moon, moving into position with military precision. The Soul's Fury took point, with the other battleships forming a wall of steel and weapons. The carriers deployed their fighters in waves. The Hammer of Sol moved into firing position. Admiral Taeyang's voice broadcast across all channels, including the ones the Velthari could hear. "Attention, Kragath Swarm. You have entered protected space. You have attacked innocent people. You have killed billions. We are the Earth Defense Fleet, and we are here to stop you. You think you are the ultimate predator? You are wrong. You have never met a species from a Class 12 death world. Today, you learn what that means. All ships, execute battle plan. Show them what humans can do." Kyung-sik sat at his weapons station on the Soul's Fury. His fingers moved across the controls with practiced ease. The battleship's main mass driver powered up. It was a simple weapon, really. Take a chunk of tungsten, accelerate it to incredible speed using magnetic rails, and fire it. Physics did the rest. Target acquired. Lead hive ship, center mass. Firing. The tungsten rod, weighing 20 tons, launched from the mass driver. It accelerated to 15% of light speed in 3 seconds. The kinetic energy was enormous, more than most nuclear weapons. It struck the hive ship dead center. The impact was catastrophic. The hive ship did not explode. It crumpled, the structure collapsing inward from the sheer force of impact. Pieces broke off, spinning away into space. The Kragath collective mind reeled from the sudden, violent loss of one-third of its intelligence. Target destroyed, Kyung-sik reported calmly, reloading for second shot. But the real show was just beginning. The Hammer of Soul lined up its shot. Yoon-suk had designed the weapon personally, based on the principle that nothing could survive enough kinetic force. The ship's entire structure was built around a single massive railgun that could fire a 200-ton penetrator at 30% of light speed. Hammer of Soul, you are cleared for main weapon fire, Tae-yang ordered. The ship's captain, a quiet man named Jin Ho, nodded. Firing main weapon. The entire ship shuddered as the massive railgun fired. The 200-ton tungsten rod accelerated down the barrel, building speed until it reached 30% of light speed. The energy release was equivalent to 50 megatons of TNT. The second hive ship never had a chance. The penetrator struck it like the fist of an angry god. The entire structure shattered, blown into a million fragments. The explosion lit up space like a new sun. The Kragath swarm began to panic. They had never experienced losses like this. Their distributed intelligence was breaking down, confused and afraid. They tried to scatter, but the humans gave them no chance. Myran led her fighter wing into the drone swarm. 300 fighters against 400,000 drones. The odds looked impossible. They were not. All wings, this is Meteor. Arm nuclear warheads. We are going to light them up. The fighters dove into the swarm at full speed, dodging and weaving through the mass of drones. The Kragath tried to swarm them, but human pilots could pull maneuvers that should have killed them. 15G turns, 20G acceleration. Their bodies could take it because they evolved in high gravity. Weapons free, Myran shouted. Fire everything. Nuclear-tipped missiles launched from the fighters, dozens at a time. Each warhead was small, just 5 kilotons, but there were hundreds of them. They detonated throughout the swarm, creating flowers of nuclear fire in the darkness of space. Thousands of drones died in each explosion. The electromagnetic pulses disabled thousands more. The swarm tried to adapt, tried to scatter, but the fighters herded them into kill zones. More missiles, more explosions. The space around Velthar Prime became a graveyard. While the fighters dealt with the swarm, Commander Hyunwoo prepared for the most dangerous mission. The third hive ship was still functional, and it needed to be destroyed from the inside. Marines, board the assault shuttles. We are going in. 500 Marines loaded onto armored shuttles. They wore heavy combat suits designed for the worst environments. Chemical propellant weapons were checked and loaded. Explosives were distributed. Every Marine knew this would be brutal. The shuttles launched, racing toward the hive ship. Point defense fire from the human fleet cleared their path. They crashed through the hive ship's outer hull, tearing holes in the silicon structure. Inside, the environment was hell. Temperature extremes. Toxic atmosphere. Tight corridors filled with Kragath warrior forms. Larger, more dangerous versions of the drones. The warriors moved to attack, but the Marines were ready. Gunfire echoed through the corridors. Chemical propellants might seem primitive, but they worked. Bullets punched through silicon. Grenades shattered warrior forms. The Marines advanced slowly, methodically, securing each section before moving forward. Hyunwoo led from the front, his rifle bucking in his hands as he fired. A warrior rushed him, and he dropped it with a burst to its core. Another came from the side, and he smashed it with his armored fist. Hand-to-hand combat in a Deathworld species was not fair. Yoon-suk guided them remotely, her voice calm in their helmets. Structural node ahead, 50 meters. Plant the charges there. The Marines fought their way to the target. Specialized demo teams placed thermobaric explosives at critical points. These were not normal bombs. They created massive pressure waves that would tear the hive ship apart from within. Charges set, Hyunwoo reported. All teams, fall back to extraction points. Move, move, move. The Marines ran, fighting their way back through the corridors. Warriors tried to stop them, but Earth soldiers in a tight space were unstoppable. They reached the shuttles with 30 seconds to spare. Detonating charges. Yunsuk said. The bombs went off in sequence. The pressure waves propagated through the hive ship's structure, tearing apart the internal supports. The ship began to break up, huge sections separating from the main body. Captain Dongwu watched from the Indomitable as the third hive ship tried to flee. Not on his watch. All weapons, target that hive ship. I want it destroyed. Fire everything. The Indomitable unleashed hell. Mass drivers firing solid slugs. Missile pods launching smart warheads. Railguns sending hypersonic projectiles. The barrage was continuous and overwhelming. The hive ship's hull buckled under the assault. Pieces broke off. Internal explosions rippled along its length. It tried to return fire, but human shields absorbed the energy weapons easily. Keep firing, Dongwu ordered. Do not let it escape. 3 minutes later, the third hive ship broke completely apart. Its structure failed, and it became nothing but debris. The battle was over. The Kragath swarm was destroyed. All 3 hive ships were gone. The drones, without coordination, were easy targets. The human fleet methodically hunted down and destroyed the remaining units. Above Velthar Prime, the sky cleared. The moon was saved. Admiral Tai Yang stood on his bridge and looked at the damage reports. Several ships were damaged but repairable. The casualties were surprisingly light. 247 dead, mostly Marines who had held corridors to let others escape. Fleet. This is the Admiral. Well done. Stand down from combat alert. Begin rescue and recovery operations. Below them, the Velthari emerged from their shelters. They looked up at the sky and saw the human fleet standing guard. The monsters had saved them. The silence after battle was strange. Meltira floated on the bridge of the luminous dawn, staring at the debris field that had almost been her people's doom. Pieces of Kragath hive ships drifted in the darkness, broken and dead. The human fleet held position, their ships scarred from battle but victorious. Not a single human vessel had been destroyed. Damaged, yes, but not lost. In 2 hours, they had accomplished what the entire Galactic Council could not do in months. They had stopped the unstoppable. Her communication console beeped. The Galactic Council wanted to speak with Admiral Tai Yang. Meltira listened in as the holographic meeting began. The Thoraxian ambassador appeared first, his insect face twitching with barely controlled anger. Admiral Tai Yang, the Council demands an explanation for your aggressive military action. You use nuclear weapons, kinetic bombardment. These are weapons of extinction. Tai Yang's expression did not change. He looked tired, but his voice was steady and cold. You mean effective weapons? When you called my people monsters and quarantined our system, we kept building technology to survive. We come from a world that tries to kill us every single day. We learned to kill back. The Kragath are extinct now because they met a species more dangerous than they were. Commander Haywan stepped into view beside him. Admiral, if I may. She turned to face the Council. Our intelligence analysis shows the Kragath were spreading directly toward Council space. If they had consumed the Velthari systems, your core worlds would have been next. You are welcome, by the way. The Keldari representative pulsed with agitation. This level of destructive capability is exactly why Earth was quarantined. You are too dangerous. Vice Admiral Bo Young spoke up, her voice sharp. Too dangerous for what? Too dangerous to save billions of lives? Too dangerous to stop a threat you could not handle? You want us isolated when it is convenient, but you want our help when you are desperate. You cannot have both. The council chamber erupted in argument. Representatives shouted over each other, some demanding Earth stay isolated, others quietly admitting they needed human military power. The meeting went nowhere. Ta Yang ended it simply. When you decide what you actually want, contact us. Until then, we have work to do. He cut the connection. The real work was honoring the dead. 247 humans had died in the battle. Most were Marines who held defensive positions to allow their squad mates to escape the hive ship. They had known what they were doing. They had chosen to stay behind. The memorial service was held aboard the Soul's Fury in the main hangar bay. The entire crew attended, along with Velthari observers. Meltira watched humans mourn their dead with a fierceness that matched their battle fury. Commander Yun Wu stood before the assembled Marines. His voice was rough with grief. "We lost 12 soldiers from my direct command today. They were warriors. They were heroes. They died doing what Earth soldiers have always done, protecting those who cannot protect themselves. We will remember them. We will honor them. And we will continue their mission." The names were read aloud. Each one echoed through the hangar. Human customs were strange to Meltira, but she understood grief. She understood loss. She floated forward when invited to speak. "Your people died saving mine," she said, her translator carrying the emotion in her voice. "We will never forget this. The Velthari will remember humanity not as monsters, but as heroes. We will tell our children, and they will tell their children, forever." A single human musician played something called a bagpipe. The sound was mournful and beautiful. Meltira watched humans cry openly, without shame. They honored their dead with honest emotion. After the service, the political situation changed rapidly. The Galactic Council could not ignore what had happened. Earth had solved their worst threat in hours. The truth was simple. They needed humanity more than humanity needed them. The Council sent a formal delegation to negotiate. They dropped all their demands and arrogant posturing. Instead, they came with offers. Admiral Taeyang met with them in a neutral station. Vice Admiral Bo Young and Commander Haewon flanked him. The negotiations were direct. "Earth wants 3 things," Taeyang said. "First, end the quarantine. We will not be isolated anymore. Second, fair trade agreements. No more treating us like dangerous animals. Third, a seat on the Security Council. If you want our military protection, we get a say in galactic policy." The Council had no choice. They agreed to everything. Within a month, the changes were dramatic. Captain Dong Wu was promoted to Commodore and given command of a new rapid response battle group. 6 human battleships would be stationed at strategic points across Council space, ready to deploy anywhere in 72 hours. Myran became an instructor, teaching other species pilots human combat techniques. Most could not handle the G-forces humans could tolerate, but she taught them what she could. Her students were terrified of her, but they learned. Kyung-sik worked with Yoon-suk to design new weapon systems for galactic export. Kinetic weapons, carefully regulated and licensed. The Council species wanted them now, wanted to modernize their militaries. Earth would provide the technology, but only under strict control. The biggest change was the alliance with the Velthari. They signed an exclusive defense pact with Earth. In exchange for military protection, they offered their advanced scientific knowledge. The Velthari were brilliant scientists, the best in the galaxy. Combined with human engineering and willingness to experiment, the partnership was powerful. Meltira became the Velthari ambassador to Earth. She was the first alien to live in Sol system in 50 years. The experience was overwhelming. She visited Sol on a diplomatic tour. Even with advanced gravity compensation technology, she could barely move under Earth's crushing pull. The city was huge, loud, and full of humans moving with casual ease in conditions that would kill most species. Admiral Taeyang gave her a personal tour. He showed her a nature preserve where Earth animals lived. She nearly fainted when she saw a creature he called a tiger. "That is a predator," she whispered in horror. "A killer. And you just let it live near your cities?" Taeyang smiled. "We have thousands of predator species on Earth. That is what made us what we are. We learned to live with danger every day." He showed her something smaller next, a furry creature that purred when he touched it. "This is a cat. We keep them as companions, as pets." "You live with predators in your homes?" Meltira could not believe it. "By choice?" "They are small predators, and they are good company," he paused. "Everything on Earth is a little bit dangerous. You learn to appreciate the beauty in dangerous things." 6 months after the battle, a new ship launched from Earth orbit. It was called Unity, a joint Earth-Velthari vessel. It combined human military engineering with Velthari scientific innovation. The ship represented what the galaxy could become. Different species working together, each contributing their strengths. Admiral Taeyong stood on Unity's bridge for the ceremony. The ship was officially designated the flagship of the Galactic Quick Response Force, a new military organization designed to handle threats like the Kragath. Earth would provide the military power. The Council would provide intelligence and logistics. Together, they would protect the galaxy. Meltira floated beside Taeyong, looking at the main view screen. Space stretched out before them, full of possibilities. "Do you think there will be more threats like the Kragath?" she asked. "Probably," Taeyong said. "The universe is dangerous. There will always be something trying to hurt someone weaker." "And you will fight them?" "Yes. That is what we do. Earth taught us to survive by being the most dangerous thing around. But it also taught us to protect those who cannot protect themselves. We are not monsters, Meltira. We are guardians." She looked at him, this tall, dense, dangerous being who had saved her entire species. The galaxy was wrong about humans. Maybe the galaxy is learning that there are different kinds of strength. We are scary, yes. We fight hard and we kill efficiently. But we only do it for the right reasons. An alert came through. A distress call from a mining colony in the Outer Rim. Pirates were attacking, and the local defense force was overwhelmed. Taeyong did not hesitate. Navigation. Set course for the mining colony. Maximum speed. Communications. Alert the quick response force. We are going to help. The Unity turned and accelerated, jumping to faster-than-light travel. Behind them, other human ships followed. Somewhere in the galaxy, someone needed help. And Earth was answering the call. The galaxy had learned its lesson. The Deathworlders were not monsters to fear. They were allies to treasure, and anyone who threatened the innocent would learn what it meant to face humanity in battle. The strong would protect the weak. That was the human way, and now, it was the galactic way too.